Horoscope reading principles, Taurus rising. 1. Natural benefics enhance the house they occupy or aspect. For Taurus rising, Venus in the 9th house, Capricorn, brings grace and fortune through travel, higher education, and mentorships. Venus, being both the Lagna and 6th lord and also a natural benefic, uplifts this Dharma house and supports karmic rewards. Its aspect on the 3rd Cancer brings emotional refinement in speech and artistic communication. Number 2, natural benefics support any planet they conjoin or aspect. If Jupiter is placed in the 7th house, Scorpio, and aspects Moon in the 11th, Pisces, it enhances emotional intelligence in social connections and stabilizes gains through philosophical or spiritual groups. Even though Jupiter is in a sign of Mars, its aspect to Moon, a functional benefic as 3rd lord, brings emotional maturity in group dynamics. Number 3, natural malefics enhance the undesirable indications of houses they occupy or aspect, unless they own them. If Saturn is in the 5th house, Virgo, it can suppress creativity, delay childbirth, or cause strained relationships with children, unless Saturn also has functional beneficence by ownership or aspects from Jupiter or Venus. If Saturn is retrograde or combust, this effect worsens. But if Saturn aspects the 7th house, Scorpio, it may create obstacles in marriage unless balanced by Venus in the 1st or 7th. 4. Natural malefics can afflict the planets they conjoin or aspect. For example, Mars in the 10th house, Aquarius, conjoined with Mercury, 5th and 2nd lord, may lead to conflict in professional communication or harsh speech, unless Mercury is stronger in degrees. Mars's aspect on Moon in the 4th, Leo, can cause emotional agitation or disturbances in home life. 5. Natural significators enhance the results of houses they signify when aspecting them, but with exceptions. Mars in the 3rd house, Cancer, its debilitation sign, is particularly difficult. Though it's the natural significator for courage, in this case, it harms relationships with younger siblings and leads to rash actions. Waning Moon in the 4th house, Leo, brings emotional disconnect from the mother or lack of nurturing, even though the house itself is central to peace and security. Jupiter in the 5th house, Virgo, may encourage children's growth, but also make the relationship rigid or overly moralistic. Venus in the 7th house, Scorpio, though natural significator of relationships, may bring intensity, possessiveness, or hidden troubles unless it's well supported. Sun in the 9th house, Capricorn, debilitated, can harm the native's bond with father or mentors. Even though the Sun is a natural significator of father and dharma, this position can lead to conflict with authority or religious figures. Jupiter in the 11th house, Pisces, although in its own sign, can still bring philosophical disagreements with elder siblings or unmet expectations if afflicted. These exceptions reflect how even exalted or own sign planets, if aligned with house-specific sensitivities, can show contradictions. For Taurus rising, interpreting these yogas demands attention to functional lordship, e.g., Venus is both Lagna and 6th lord, aspect strength, and avasthas. For instance, Venus in the 7th in Jyeshta may show a tendency towards secrecy or intensity in relationships, while the same Venus in Anurata, Saturn ruled, would lean toward loyalty and discipline. Horoscope reading principles, Virgo rising. 1. Natural benefics enhance the house they occupy or aspect. For Virgo rising, Mercury in the 1st house, Virgo, exalted and in its own sign, strongly uplifts health, personality, and analytical intelligence. As Lagna and 10th lord, Mercury enhances career and identity simultaneously. Its aspect, via association to the 7th house, brings clarity and logic into partnerships and business dealings. This placement makes the native naturally skilled, service-oriented, and intellectually refined. 2. Natural benefics uplift planets they conjoin or aspect. Jupiter in the 9th house, Taurus, aspecting Moon in the 1st, Virgo, brings emotional and spiritual alignment. Even though Jupiter is not a functional benefic for Virgo rising, ruling 4th and 7th, it still enhances Moon's emotional stability and maternal grace. The native becomes ethically grounded, emotionally nurturing, and benefits from female mentors or spiritual mothers, especially if Venus, as 2nd and 9th lord, supports from the 11th. 3. Natural malefics intensify undesirable indications in houses they occupy or aspect, unless they own the house. Saturn in the 5th house, Capricorn, may restrict creativity, delay children, and bring a burdensome sense of responsibility in romance. Even though Saturn rules the fifth house and acts as a functional benefic, it is still a natural malefic and can lead to emotional rigidity unless aspected by Venus or Moon. If Saturn aspects the second, Libra, the native may experience delayed but structured financial growth. 4. Natural malefics afflict planets they conjoin or aspect. Mars in the 10th house, Gemini, aspecting Mercury in the first, may lead to verbal aggression, decision impulsivity, or strained professional communication. Even though Mars owns the 3rd and 8th houses, its natural aggressiveness may cause tension in career and partnerships. If the Moon is placed in the 4th and also aspected by Mars, emotional volatility in domestic or career matters may intensify. 5. Natural significators increase results when aspecting their own house types, but exceptions must be noted. Mars in the 3rd house, Scorpio, its own sign, generally enhances courage and initiative, but may lead to competitive sibling dynamics or a lone wolf mentality. Waning Moon in the 4th house, Sagittarius, may reduce maternal affection or create internal restlessness, especially if Jupiter is poorly placed or combust. Jupiter in the 5th house, Capricorn, its debilitation sign, may over-idealize children or bring philosophical disillusionment, especially if not receiving Nichabanga. Venus in the 7th house, Pisces, exalted, brings devotion in love and harmonious marriage, but may also cause the native to idealize partnerships or lose self-identity in them. Sun in the 9th house, Taurus, a neutral sign, may bring power struggles with father or ideological rigidity, particularly if aspected by Mars or Rahu. Jupiter in the 11th house, Cancer, exalted, enhances gain through dharmic efforts, but may attract overly moralistic or idealistic social circles that create disillusionment if Mercury, Lagna Lord, is weak. For Virgo ascendants, functional beneficence becomes more nuanced. Mercury, Venus, and Saturn all play stabilizing roles. Jupiter, despite its natural beneficence, rules the 4th and 7th, both Kendra houses, which for dual signs makes it a functional malefic. Venus is key to wealth and fortune, ruling the 2nd and 9th. A debilitated Venus in the 1st, Virgo, needs balancing from exalted Mercury or a Jupiter aspect to avoid conflict between personal logic and relationship ideals. Saturn's strength in Capricorn or Aquarius can bring maturity and discipline, especially when linked to the 5th or 6th house dynamics. Horoscope reading principles, Capricorn rising. 1. Natural benefics enhance the house they occupy or aspect. For Capricorn rising, Venus in the 5th house, Taurus, its own sign, strongly uplifts creativity, children, romance, and education. As 5th and 10th Lord, Venus becomes a yoga karaka and brings both dharma and karma alignment. Its aspect to the 11th, Scorpio, subtly enhances material gains, especially from arts, investments, or educational ventures. This becomes a classic Artha Kama yoga when supported by well-placed Jupiter or Mercury. 2. Natural benefics uplift planets they conjoin or aspect. Jupiter in the 9th house, Virgo, aspecting the Sun in the 1st, Capricorn, enhances the native's moral compass and broadens the vision of life. Although Jupiter rules the 3rd and 12th, thus functionally neutral or mildly malefic, its aspect to the Lagna Lord, Saturn or Sun, if Sun is strong by dignity, gives dignity, purpose, and spiritual motivation. If Mercury conjoins Jupiter or the Sun, the native becomes a scholar, strategist, or thoughtful leader. 3. Natural malefics increase undesirable results in houses they occupy or aspect, unless they own them. Mars in the 7th house, Cancer, its debilitation sign, if unaided, causes relationship conflict, aggression in partnerships, and instability in public dealings. While Mars rules the 4th and 11th houses, its debilitation in the 7th becomes a clear challenge in marriage or business, unless Jupiter or Venus aspects this house from Kendra or Trikona. 4. Natural malefics afflict planets they conjoin or aspect. Saturn in the 1st house, Capricorn, though strong in own sign and being the Lagna Lord, can still restrict self-expression and cause emotional withdrawal when conjoining the Moon or aspecting Venus in the 7th, Cancer. Saturn's cold influence, if unaided by benefics like Jupiter or Mercury, may lead to detachment, delayed marriage, or chronic self-doubt. If Venus aspects or conjoins Saturn from the 5th or 10th, it adds grace and maturity, easing Saturn's harshness. 5. Natural significators enhance their related domains when occupying or aspecting, but with critical exceptions. Mars in the 3rd house, Pisces, provides courage, communication strength, and ambition, but may cause impulsiveness or instability in sibling relations or short travels, especially if Moon is in the 6th. Waning Moon in the 4th house, Aries, weakens emotional grounding and maternal nourishment unless supported by Jupiter or Venus. Native may feel displaced or emotionally unsupported. Jupiter in the 5th house, Taurus, supports children and intelligence, but may overvalue tradition or create rigidity in creative expression unless Venus is in dignity. Venus in the 7th house, Cancer, though friendly, may result in overattachment or dependence in relationships, especially if Moon is afflicted or placed in the 12th. Sun in the 9th house, Virgo, strengthens dharma and fatherly connections, but can lead to conflicts with mentors if combust Mercury or afflicted by Saturn. Jupiter in the 11th house, Scorpio, while increasing gain potential through intense or secretive circles, may bring complications in friendships or overly philosophical expectations if Venus is weak. Capricorn rising benefits greatly from structure, time-tested approaches, and internal discipline. Saturn, as the Lagna Lord, governs the overarching life tone and must be handled carefully, especially if in Lagna or aspecting Kendra houses. Venus becomes a prime planet for prosperity and purpose, acting as Yoga Karaka, and its dignity governs many outcomes, especially in the 5th or 10th. Jupiter's beneficence is conditional. It rules the 3rd and 12th and may withhold unless strong by sign or association. Mars, while action-driving, must be carefully placed to avoid disrupting stability in relationships or emotional balance. For Capricorn natives, harmonious placements of Venus and Saturn, supported by Mercury and Jupiter, build a grounded yet successful life path.